Hi, my name is Patty Pelkey. I have children at West Valley, Cupertino, and Homestead. We are longtime members of this community. I'm here to speak about the reconstitution of West Valley and why the resulting issue inspired no confidence in our district leadership. I've always felt pride toward our schools and amazement at the parent community. The pride has been washed away with the recent decisions of our school leadership. This school year should have been a highlight for my son, both socially and academically. He has grown up on the West Valley campus since birth and felt very connected to everyone, parents, students, teachers, even the crossing guard when we have them. All that was abruptly taken away despite the pleas of community members asking for transparency that could warrant such a drastic measure. No objectable reason was given. Instead, we were asked to move forward, give the new school a chance, trust that our kids' interest is in their hearts. We tried moving forward, but the comparison of his education experience to our older children is substantially less. Less field trips, especially the Marine Science Institute, less writing, such as essays and reports, less understanding of math, less creativity in the classroom. We are now approaching the end of the year, and the school community is worse than ever before. People are afraid to speak because the community is very divided. Many people are just avoiding the school altogether. From the outside, it may look like school has moved forward, but when you stop and talk to parents, the damage remains. So many parents are considering private school options and feel less connected to our current school. Fundraising and volunteerism is negatively impacted. The school administration is asking for money and wondering why people are not stepping up. They ignore the fact that parents are angry that money is wasted on consulting firms such as HDS and have no evidence on effectiveness when school programs are being cut. The school has changed from a culture of community to a culture of because I said so. Student body elections were eliminated because, yeah, who knows? I've heard several different reasons, none making much sense. What I do know is the students that have the chance to practice a democratic lesson on government. Now, when the bell rings, all students are demanded to take a knee until the proper authority allows them access to their classroom. The bending a knee to authority goes against my value as an American living in a free society. Our children is our future, my country's future. The children in our district deserve an education focused on their best interests, not the interests of land developers, politicians, individual board members, but the interests of our children. West Valley is only one example that current leadership is not supporting our children's education. I would like the board to show good faith and due diligence. I'm requesting that either the superintendent resign or the board remove her. As an elected official, the board has a responsibility to embrace the voice of the community. I feel that this leadership theme song should be, I came in like a wrecking ball, and our community does not need to be wrecked. Let's focus on education and stop focusing on real estate and other things that are not directly supporting our kids in the classroom. Right now, in federal mandates, there's a lot of things going on in education that definitely needs a lot of support, rolling out new curriculum, and I'm watching my kids suffer through this new curriculum because the teachers
Thank you.
aren't supported in it.
Marilyn McGraw. As an organizational psychologist who has been doing her work for just shy of 20 years, I've had the good fortune and been blessed to work with senior executives within the corporate arena as well as multiple nonprofit boards. I've also been a board member in both arenas, and so I know the weight that board members carry when they truly care about doing their job in a manner that reflects the needs and the desires and the voice of their constituents. So I must make it clear, in no way, shape, or form am I here to bash any particular individual on any particular topic. I will be speaking in a while on one of the agenda items. But having said all this, I must cut to the chase of what is on my mind. Superintendent and members of the board, we are asking that you demonstrate true leadership by responding to the overwhelming voice of your community and really hear us and address the topics of interest for the district very mindfully. True leadership gives more than lip service to those they represent. It assimilates their feedback and course corrects as appropriate. Serving those that you represent is never a sign of weakness, and such a course correction will go a very long way towards rebuilding the broken trust that is currently between us. Superintendent, if you are simply not capable of exhibiting strong leadership, then we must respectfully call upon you to resign your position and ask that the board immediately facilitate an effective transition to a superintendent capable of stewarding over our most precious resource and the reason that we should all be here, our children. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm sorry, did you say Toe Wang? Thank you. Good evening, members of the board. My name is To Wang. I am a parent of a student at Meyer Holz, and I'm also a volunteer in the school. It's been many months since I last came here to speak on behalf of parents who are opposed to the policy of requiring fingerprints from all parents who want to volunteer. We were glad to receive one single response from Ms. Vogel, promising a more welcoming environment for us parents who want to volunteer. However, those promises have not come to fruition. Instead, in the intervening months, the administration of the district has simply made this policy more unreasonable, to the point where even parents who want to go to the classroom, help their own children one-to-one, are also being directed to be fingerprinted. One major issue that we are concerned about is something called subsequent arrest notifications. This is a surveillance mechanism defined in the California Penal Code. It was created to be used to track ex-convicts and prisoners out on parole. But never did we imagine that this would come into play here. We sent you multiple emails and even requests under the California Public Records Act, asking to what extent and how is this surveillance mechanism being used and how it affects the parents. All our emails and the CPRA requests were ignored. So therefore, we had no choice but to contact the Attorney General of California. The Office of the AG responded and confirmed that yes, indeed, all parents who have been fingerprinted are now also subject to subsequent arrest notifications. We feel that the continued imposition of this invasive and abusive policy is a severe attack on the constitutional rights of citizens under the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendments. And that this is another instance of a culture of insidious secrecy being fostered by the administration of the school district. I come here representing the 160 members of Biometric Awareness Group. We are here to support the parents of other groups who will please stand up to call upon the resignation or removal of the superintendent. We ask that you please take into heart the interests and rights of the families, even briefly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ron Bell.
Good evening. My name is Juan Bell. I've been a Cupertino resident for over 30 years and a Lincoln Elementary parent for almost a decade. I'm here tonight to talk about Lincoln's current fractured community and why the resulting issues inspire no confidence in the superintendent. I can no longer stand by and helplessly watch a once cohesive parent-teacher community devolve to the point of declining morale and lost educational programs. Without going into too many details, Lincoln's brand new, inexperienced principal makes a decision in a vacuum, creating chaos, concerns, and discontent. She uses bullying tactics to enforce her new rules. She used taxpayers' money to have a sheriff barricade parents from coming onto campus to pick up our children. The superintendent not only endorsed these tactics, but also actively participated by sending 2 district executives to stand guard alongside the sheriff for 3 straight days. Their presence was clearly to intimidate. Parents were made to feel like criminals. This is beyond outrageous. Lincoln belonged to the people and the public. It is the taxpayers' dollars which fund and sustain the school. I ask the school board, do you condone these bullying strategies and aggressive acts? Many parents have brought up the negative impacts from these strong-arm maneuvers. The superintendent brushed it aside, saying that all is well and that we should move forward and re-engage. The message was clear. Parents' feelings are unimportant and don't matter. Today, we are currently facing the consequences of that shoddy treatment. The reduction in volunteerism and donations are very real and a result of the school now demoralized, bifurcated parent community. For the first time in years, we will most likely not have a parent volunteer fundraising event. For at least through this past decade, even through the 2008 recession, Lincoln has never previously lost any of our donations-funded educational program. But this year, despite all the dire shortage announcements and matching incentives, we are faced with the real possibility of lost educational programs. I can't help but draw parallels between Lincoln and West Valley. A new, inexperienced principal with weak leadership skills, but a divisive and authoritarian approach, creating a fracture in the community, all with the superintendent's support. Therefore, to preserve our schools and our community, I am calling on the superintendent to resign her position and the board to do its job and remove her.
Thank you. Mary O'Leary.
Hi, my name is Carrie. I'm a Hyde Middle School parent. I'm here because I'm deeply disturbed by how friendly our superintendent is with developers in Cupertino. I believe her overt coziness demonstrates poor judgment and a lack of clear priorities for our children. First, she was featured prominently on thousands of promotional flyers sent multiple times to my home and to every home in Cupertino. This demonstrated such poor judgment. She allowed herself to be quoted on the flyers and her face smiling. She said, "If approved, the Hills at Valco will bring more than $20 million to Cupertino schools." This endorsement on these flyers implied that the Hills at Valco will improve Cupertino schools. A sad mischaracterization of what will happen. If she was, as she has claimed, just getting ahead of the Hills at Valco development and trying to secure the best plan for our schools, she could have done such a better job by keeping her face and her coat off of the flyers and negotiating behind the scenes until the very last moment when the permit was granted, if it is. As I've said, she's too friendly with developers. After promoting the Hills, she launched the first ever district-led fundraising luncheon entitled The State of the District. This could have been essentially a developer's promoted, sponsored luncheon, which featured you, because all of the people who paid the high prices for your tables were developers. The 3 gold level sponsors, thank you. The 3 gold level sponsors at your $5,000 table: Swinerton Management and Consulting, a building firm, SIM Architects, and the Hills at Valco. After this unprecedented fundraiser, which seems to have been a developer-sponsored luncheon, as I said, I don't think it's a coincidence that we now have the Luther site conversion being explored. Her proposal to convert a precious school site into housing fails to provide a proper benefit to all teachers in the district, but a very small proportion, and overlooks current overcrowding at schools like Poor Stockelmeyer with over 1,000 students on the campus. Such anonymity for a child of 5 years old is unconscionable. The superintendent's decision to cozy up to developers behind the scenes, on flyers, at expensive luncheons, and at with our precious school property demonstrates such poor judgment and priorities for a school superintendent. Myself and others here today call for your resignation and for the board to do its job and release her.
Okay, that concludes item 4, public comments. We'll now move on to item 5, which is a public hearing of the resolution 15-16-13, which is adjustments to school impact fees for residential and commercial industrial development. We'll now open the public hearing.